Welcome to the Feria TechCast, where we bring you all things science, engineering, technology, and innovation. Today, we are joined by Alan Lazaros, a computer engineer, MBA, and the founder and CEO of Next Level University, a global top 100 self-improvement podcast with over 2,100 episodes and a million listens across 180 plus countries. After a near fatal car accident led him to rethink his path, Alan transitioned from a successful technical career to dedicating over 11,000 hours to coaching, training, and podcasting. He now leads a global team with a heart-driven approach to holistic self-improvement, helping people achieve both external success and internal fulfillment in health, wealth, and love. So, Alan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. I am honored to be here. I do not take it lightly. I will not waste a second of anyone's time. 10 years ago, when I started coaching, training, and podcasting, it was crickets. So I'm very grateful to be here. I'll never lose sight of it. And yeah, let's rock and roll, man.
Yeah, I'm equally excited to have you here. So, quickly, let's dive in, Alan. Your journey from electrical engineer to the CEO of a global self-improvement company is quite fascinating, in my opinion. So, what was the biggest mindset shift you had to make to go from working with technical systems to working with people?
So the first thing there is this idea of the traditional path. So I was born and raised in Massachusetts. I did the traditional path. So I did preschool, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, corporate. Yeah, so kindergarten, preschool, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, corporate. So that traditional path in my country is what I did. And it's very professional development oriented. And I loved math and science. When I left corporate at 26, I was very externally successful, but internally not very fulfilled. And I was kind of living life from the outside in rather than from the inside out. And then I flipped the script and I went all in on fulfillment. I was a fitness model, fitness competitor, fitness coach. And that's when I found personal development, personal growth, and self-improvement. And then I created a little company. This was almost 11 years ago now, 10 years ago. In November, I'll be 37. And this is when I was 26 years old. So I got in a car accident at 26. My birth father died in a car when he was 28. So for me, this is sort of the second chance my dad never got. And I reinvented myself after that. And I started a company called Alan Lazaros LLC, what you'll never learn in school, but desperately need to know. And basically, that traditional path I thought had kind of failed me in a way because I was a straight A student and I got my engineering degree, computer engineering, I got my master's in business, but yet I didn't learn anything about personal development, personal growth, or self-improvement. So once I found that, I went all in on the inside first and then hoped that success would be a byproduct. And for a long time there, it was not. I went from externally successful and internally unfulfilled to internally fulfilled as hell, happy, healthy, productive, but I was unsuccessful because in business, it takes a long time to gain traction. And now I'm fortunately merging both. So now I'm internally fulfilled and externally successful. So now I'm a business coach primarily. I did fitness coaching, I did mindset coaching, I did peak performance coaching, I did business consulting. Eventually I landed on business coaching, but ultimately my clients, I have 21 currently. They bring humility and coachability, and they bring work ethic, and I bring strategies. And we have what we call a system of success. So every one of my clients tracks metrics and habits, and we create a system of success that is by design, reverse engineering their dreams, goals, priorities, metrics, habits, skills, and identity, and it all rolls up to what they ultimately want. To answer your original question, though, how did I transition from professional development, corporate, into this world of people? As a computer engineer, there's software, firmware, hardware, and then there's the operating system, and then there's all these different programs that you use. So right now we're on Riverside. That's a program we're using. And I'm on Windows 11. I don't know if you have a Mac or if you have Windows 11, but the human beings have the unconscious, subconscious, and conscious brain. We have physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. We are wired a certain way. And my iPhone updates overnight. And why aren't human beings updating overnight? And so our podcast, Next Level University, is 1% improvement in your pocket from anywhere on the planet, completely free. But really, every episode, every single day, is anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes of success principles and personal development principles and professional development principles that help people retool and reinvent themselves. Like, my computer has certain hardware, it has certain firmware, it has a certain operating system, it has certain software, and that's why it runs. Human beings have beliefs, which is their operating system. They have what they say, think, do, feel, and believe. And if you have inaccurate beliefs about yourself, others, and the world, you're basically like a self-driving car that drives off a cliff thinking that it's a road. And you keep making poor decisions and then blaming the world, when in reality, you just think inaccurately. So we all have this sort of mental map. And so my job is to help people update their mental map to see themselves, others, and the world more accurately so that they can make more effective decisions. And the way I do that is through science, technology, engineering, mathematics, business, and finance, and my understanding of psychology and neuroscience. And so if you understand how humans work, you understand how the economy works, you understand how the world works, and you understand how other people work and how influence and leadership works, you now understand the game that is life, and now you can make the right chess moves to design a future you love rather than just stumbling upon, a crappy life that you didn't want. And I think that's what a lot of us do, is we're kind of winging it. A self-driving car needs an accurate destination location, it needs accurate current location, it needs an accurate roadmap of terrain. Otherwise, it's going to keep driving off a cliff. And I feel like that's a good metaphor for what a lot of people do. And my job is to make sure that you have the right map, you understand where you're going and why, and you actually get there. And then as soon as you get there, we up the ante, and it's a mountain that gets higher as you climb it. So it's taken me 36 years to really understand how wildly complex everything is and how hard it is to actually succeed in life. And I don't mean just succeed, but also be fulfilled as a human being and have meaningful relationships along the way. It's very difficult to be good at life.
Wow, that's truly inspiring, Alan. So, does your engineering background in any way influence the way you approach personal development and coaching today?
Always, always. So there's a book called Decoding Greatness, and it's all about studying Apple and all these different. You can take anyone. You can take Michael Phelps. You can take Serena Williams. You can take Apple and Steve Jobs and Wozniak. You can take Bill Gates and Microsoft and Paul Allen, all that stuff. You can decode. You can take this iPhone. This is the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and you can take it apart, and you can understand how it works, and you can understand the firmware, hardware, software, and operating system. And if you do that, and you really understand how it works and why it works that way, you can rebuild it back better. And that's why Apple reinvests so much in personal, research and development. How do they make a better and better and better phone with a better and better and better camera? It's that same approach, but for life. So I have, like I said, 21 clients. One of them is 5 times a week. One of them is 3 times a week. Two of them are twice a week. And then I have weekly, biweekly, and monthly. Monthly is my least favorite, but it's the most affordable. And every single time we get on the Zoom, it's a live Zoom session, and I actually have this remarkable where I write, and they can see it while I write. It's a virtual, sort of like a virtual whiteboard sort of thing. And what we do is we reverse engineer their goals and dreams, and I make sure that they have a clear system of success with metrics and habits that guarantee, based on statistical probability, that they actually achieve those things. The large majority of people, based on my research, are winging it. Only 4% of the population has clear written goals. There's a deep research function on ChatGPT that takes 15 minutes or so, but I did some research for a monthly masterclass. I do them every month, and Yeah, only 4% of people is what ChatGPT estimates have clear written goals. And to me, if you don't have clear written goals, people say it's about the journey, but the destination you choose in advance dictates the journey. Driving, I just drove from Massachusetts to South Carolina last week with my beautiful girlfriend. And then we went back. So we went from Massachusetts to South Carolina and then from South Carolina back to Massachusetts. That was a hell of a journey. That's a very different journey than 30 minutes south. So the destination you choose, aka your goal, dictates the journey. So what I say is choose goals and dreams where the journey is magnificent. And most people don't have goals. So yes, I use engineering in everything. Because to me, mathematic modality of thinking, if you can't think in exponentials, you can't possibly understand the world because everything grows and decays in exponentials. So yeah, I use engineering in my coaching every single day.
Fantastic, fantastic, Alan. Why do you think a holistic approach, focusing on health, wealth, and love, you know, is so much more effective than just focusing on one area like career or money?
Number one is I found myself wealthy but not healthy. And I found myself with mentors. I've had dozens of mentors and coaches in my life. And what I found is that some of the wealthiest among them, and some of these are, chief officers at billion-dollar tech companies, are very unhealthy. And so to me, I didn't want to be healthy and wealthy, but not in love. And I didn't want to be healthy and in love, but broke. And so to me, those are the three main things we all have to master. We have to master health, which is physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. We have to master wealth, which is how you earn money, how much you earn, and where you invest it. And then you have to master relationships and love, intimate first, and then it's, friends, colleagues, clients, mentors, mentees. But ultimately, those are the three things that you have. And those are three full-time jobs. If you're top 1% in health, top 1% in wealth, and top 1% in love, which I think we all aspire to, you're 1 in a million. That's 1 over 100 times 1 over 100 times 1 over 100, which is 1 in a million. So if you can be top 1% in health, wealth, and love, that's a hell of a life. And I think that's what I'm going for sure. And I think that's what we should all go for. And even if we don't get there, it's better to go for it than to throw our hands up and not go for it. Because even if you get top 5%, that's health, wealth, and love. So to me, it doesn't make any sense to be successful in one narrow area. I think if you're not healthy, you don't have anything. If you're not wealthy and you're constantly freaking out about money, you can't live a great, magnificent life. And if you aren't in love, you're missing so much of the juice of life. So health, wealth, and love is the simplest I could possibly make it. You have what you pay attention to, which dictates where you invest your time, effort, and money. And you invest time, effort, and money into persons, places, things, and ideas. And where you invest your time, effort, and money into what persons, places, things, and ideas dictates the results you get under the categories of health, wealth, and love. And if you're successful in health, wealth, and love, you are a force to be reckoned with. And you just become a very well-rounded, extraordinary person who can lead others and be an example for other people, which I think is what the world needs. I think the world needs healthy, wealthy, and in love leaders who can inspire and motivate and educate other people.
Hmm. Health, wealth, and love. So, some of our listeners, Alan, are students and early career professionals,
Nice.
grinding hard on technical skills. So, what is one non-technical skill they should start developing right now to, future-proof not just their careers, but their life and fulfillment?
Leadership. So the most important skill on planet Earth right now, in my opinion, and for the foreseeable future is leadership. Leadership is the hardest skill, I also believe. And it's not just a skill, it's a meta skill and it's got sub skills. So a meta skill would be thinking about your thinking, which is thinking about leadership in theory. Then the actual skill is leading and what you do on a day-to-day basis, leading by example, influencing others, being effective at communicating. And then there's sub skills like storytelling or sales. And then there's sub skills to sales. So leadership is the most important skill, hands down. I have a 19-person team. And I've gone through the school of hard knocks. At our peak, we had 24 people on our team. And I now realize that you have your absolutely people and your absolutely not people. So my absolutely people have high coachability and high work ethic. My absolutely not people have low coachability and low work ethic and everything in between. But now I don't work with anyone if they don't have high humility, which is coachability, and they don't have high work ethic. Because I figured out over time through massive pain and failure that people who have low coachability, they're not going to listen. And people who have low work ethic, there's nothing you can do for those people because they're lazy. So I don't really work with anyone who doesn't have high coachability and high work ethic anymore. But ultimately, leadership is knowing your core values, knowing what you stand for, painting a vision for the future for other people, getting them excited about it, making sure everyone rallies and rows in the same direction toward a common cause. It's alarmingly difficult to be a leader in the 21st century because we have a 19-person team, but we don't have a headquarters. So we have a PO box. We have a fully virtual company. We're actually going to buy commercial property and have a headquarters soon, but I'm never going to have everyone required to come into the office. That's not what I'm doing. I think the 21st century is fully virtual. And anyone who doesn't see that is obviously not looking at the trends. But ultimately, there's 8 billion people on planet Earth. There's 5.65 billion people on the internet, and that's increasing exponentially now that Starlink is accessible. So yeah, I mean, leadership is if you're not thinking about being a leader, you need to start thinking about it right now because it takes a lifetime to master.
All right, that's really insightful. So, Alan, you have coached thousands of people. What is the common limiting belief that holds high-performing people back from reaching their next level, in your opinion?
So I'll give you two. One is the extreme end of lack of self-belief, meaning they don't think they can do it. So the number one limiting belief that I see is you're not good enough or you're not smart enough or it's not going to work for you. Those people tend to be hardworking and humble, but they don't believe in themselves enough. So if you don't believe in it, you won't invest in it. If you don't invest in it, you won't get results, which then reinforces your original belief. The other side of that coin is people who have a ton of self-belief, but they're delusional. So the two main limiting beliefs I see is you believe it's not possible for you, not going to be worth it. That's the biggest one. Then the people who do believe it's possible for them, and do believe it'll be worth it, a lot of times don't have humility and they don't have work ethic. There's a lot of people who believe that they're going to be a billionaire and they're definitely not. And the reason why is because they just don't have the humility. They don't have the inward humility. I think it's arrogant to wing it and still think it's all going to work out. I think humility says, I'm going to do it by design and I'm going to track my metrics and habits and I'm going to make sure I'm on point and I'm going to make sure I'm conscientious and I still might not make it. That's humility. So I see two types of people. I see people who don't believe in themselves and need more belief, but they're humble. And then I see other people who have tons of belief, but they're not humble. And you need both. Self-belief and humility are the two most important character traits for success. You need both, and they need to run in tandem. Two guesses which one I needed.
Okay, self-belief and humility. Okay, that's a really great one, dear Alan. So, I'd like to ask, what do you think are the differences between being happy and being fulfilled, and why does that matter for someone chasing external success?
So the happiness thing, the pursuit of happiness, and what is happiness, and are you happy? It's so esoteric. It's not good science, in my opinion. It's just bad science. So to me, fulfillment is the thing that I think we should optimize for. But to me, what I think most people say when they say, I want my child to be happy, or I want to be happy, I think what they're really saying is three things. I think happiness, we call this the happiness formula. And for me as an engineer, everything's a formula. So the happiness formula is three things. Number one is joy, being in the present moment, enjoying what you're doing. Joy is the byproduct of gratitude or the byproduct of a great experience. So joy is number one. Number two is pleasure. Pleasure is result reliant. If this podcast goes well, then I will get pleasure. If it doesn't go well, I will not. So pleasure, I think, is the trap. if I eat this donut, it will taste good, but then I'll be lethargic. So pleasure, I think, is the trap. So joy is great, pleasure is the trap, and then the third one is fulfillment. And fulfillment comes as a byproduct of growth and contribution. So for example, this podcast episode, I'm enjoying it in the present moment. It's probably not creating that much pleasure because I'm tired. It's been a long day. I'm struggling to articulate how I mean. It's a challenge, right? It doesn't feel good, but I'm going to be fulfilled afterwards because I'm going to grow, I'm going to improve, and I'm going to contribute beyond myself. And so growth, contribution, and quality of life is, I think, fulfillment. So if you were to focus just on fulfillment and forget about joy and pleasure, you'd end up with a lot of joy and pleasure. Because fulfillment is about growth, improving yourself, personal development, personal growth, self-improvement. It's also about contribution, contributing to others, to your family, to the world, to your listeners. And then quality of life comes as a byproduct of that, because the more you contribute to others and the more you grow, the more money you're ultimately going to be able to make and the more skills you're going to develop. And then you can have a higher and higher and higher quality of life, because if you're not capable and if you're not contributing and if you're not growing, it's going to be very hard for you to make a good income. And if you don't make a good income, you can't improve the quality of your life very much. So, because quality of life is, nice homes cost a lot of money, and nice cars cost a lot of money, and nice tech costs a lot of money. And so I think that fulfillment is what you should optimize for. Fulfillment is about meaning. It's about meaning, growth, contribution, and quality of life. Whereas happiness is about pleasure. And I think pleasure is a terrible idea to optimize for, because back in the day when I used to party a lot, I had a lot of fun, but I had a lot of pleasure, but I wasn't fulfilled. And I think that was a mistake.
Well said, Alan. Well said. Fulfillment is the quality of life that we should optimize for. I'll note that down. So, from your perspective or from your experience, what is the most effective daily habits that someone can build to instantly improve their productivity and focus?
Definitely habit tracking. I have these little black notebooks in the corner of my office, actually, and I started habit tracking 10 years ago, coming up on 11. In November, I'll be 37. So 26 to 37. 11 years. So 11 years ago, I started carrying around these little black notebooks that I could fit in my pocket, and I started tracking with a mechanical pencil habits. And I have them all. I usually show them in my trainings. And I would erase every single day. I would check them off and then erase. I'd do an X if I didn't do it, and I did a check if I did it. And then eventually I had flashcards. I had a bunch. And then eventually I digitized it. I use Google Sheets now. But I track metrics and habits every single day. And without a question, that has changed my life more than any other single thing. If you take away my system of success, you take away my goals, metrics, habits, and my tracking systems, you take away 90% of what we've built.
Okay, so Alan, for someone who wants to start habit tracking today, what are some, beginner steps you'd have to give to them to start taking today to start tracking their habits?
Yeah, so number one, go into Google Sheets. So go to Google and then type in Google Sheets and it'll come right up. It's free. It's cloud-based, so you can access it on your phone. You can access it anywhere you have internet. And you just put, the first column is the date, and you just put the day, and then you just make a couple other columns for habit 1, habit 2, habit 3, and then you pick your habits, and then make sure that the habits lead to your goals. So let's say, so I do quarterly goals. So let me do this. So me and every client, we pick top 3 quarterly goals. I always say 1 is too few, 5 is too many. So pick 3 quarterly goals. We have a group coaching program actually that we just started on Tuesday. We've done 20 groups. Our 20th group just launched on Tuesday night, and I'm helping people with this right now because they have a what we call a peak performance dashboard, where each of them has peak performance tracking is what we call it. But they all have 3 goals for the quarter, Q4. So October, November, December, Q4, 3 goals, measurable, clear, specific goals, boom. And then they each have a metric under each. So I'll give you an example. We did a 10 pounds in 10 weeks challenge. My business partner and I, we have something called the Next Level Fitness Accountability Group. And every year we do a 10 pound in 10 week challenge whenever we're feeling fluffy. And so everybody sets their starting weight and their goal weight, and everybody tracks. So let's say we want to lose 10 pounds in 10 weeks. That's the goal. Boom. Okay. The metric would be weighing yourself each day. So your weight, that's the metric. The habit is 30 minutes of daily exercise. So a goal, a metric, and a habit. So the habit is what you do daily. What you measure is your weight toward a goal, which is 10 pounds in 10 weeks. So you need a target and a timeline. A goal needs a target and a timeline. So 10 pounds in 10 weeks, the metric is weighing yourself and the habit is exercising daily. That is the simplest possible form of habit tracking that we have. And this is all I do. I mean, I help people reverse engineer their goals and dreams and then create the goals, priorities, metrics, habits, skills, and identity in order to achieve it. And that's what my entire practice has become. That's what my entire coaching practice is. And I do that with 21 business owners. And then my company now works with 117 podcasters and business owners. So that's just what we do. Every team member and every client tracks metrics and habits. And it basically guarantees within reason, like you can't guarantee anything in life, but you can maximize the probability of statistical success based on a system that is consistently improving. Imagine if you went into Apple headquarters and you said, hey, what are you doing today? And they're like, I have no idea. I'm winging it. That's how most of us live our life. But if you go to Amazon or Google or Apple, these companies are measuring and their success is by design. They call them KPIs or OKRs, objectives and key results. So I came from the engineering world into the podcasting world, and I realized most people are winging it. And so my superpower, my gift, my focus is helping people create a system of success that I do this with my clients. So every single time I'm on with a client, I make sure we improve them by 1%. So you improve the self by 1%. You also improve the system by 1%. And then you improve your execution of the system by 1%. So every time we meet, it's 3% and it stacks. And then of course you're going to be successful imagine if Michael Phelps's coach was like, yeah, just jump in, swim around. And so success by design, system of success, systems thinking, and the habit tracking, just go into Google Sheets and just start small and let it build. I mean, Kevin, 8 years ago, he came to me, he was in trouble, he wanted to make more money, and I had him start tracking 5 habits, and he was like, nope. And now he's tracking everything. Now I have his spreadsheet. He's tracking like 18 habits and 15 metrics, and it can get kind of crazy when you do it for a long time, but it becomes just like riding a bike. It becomes who you are. I tracked all my stuff earlier today. I have it up right over here. It's called my CEO dashboard. I literally can look at how many coaching sessions I did yesterday. I did 3 coaching sessions and 4 podcasts yesterday. I have 11,478 hours of podcasting, coaching, and training. I have an exercise streak. I know how much money we made yesterday. I have a sleep score of 83. So you just start tracking and then you let it improve as you go. It's kind of like the first iPhone. It was a revolutionary breakthrough back then. This iPhone 16 Pro Max compared to that very first iPhone, the first iPhone that was once a revolutionary breakthrough would be a piece of garbage compared to this now. So the same goes with you in your life. In 10 years from now, I hope that you look back and go, wow, I was a mess, because that means you've gotten a lot better.
All right. Goal, metric, and habit. Alan, you really do have a formula for everything. Yeah. That's a
Yeah, man.
really wonderful one. Yeah. So, Alan, part of the theme of this podcast is centered around innovation. So, for that reason, there's kind of like a common question on innovation that I like to ask
Love it.
all the guests that we have a conversation together here on this podcast. So, in your entire work about helping people innovate, their lives in the context of personal and professional growth, what does the word innovation really mean to you?
Innovation to me is improving things internally or externally. Innovation is combining great ideas for utility. Innovation is improving the way in which you do something or improving the actual thing. So you can innovate a phone You can innovate a computer, you can innovate a company, you can innovate yourself. To me, innovation means thinking about things differently that helps you do things differently and or build things differently. And to me, I build the self, build the family, and build the business every day. So every day I build the self, family, and business. Innovation is the process of constantly trying to get better. And I mean, you don't have to go that far back to see the very first cell phone and how terrible it was. So innovation is happening rapidly. And now with AI updating all the time, it's if you're not innovating yourself, if you're not innovating your life, if you're not innovating your environment, if you're not innovating the tools you use, if you're not learning tech, you're in serious trouble. You're in serious trouble. My car drives itself. It's called FSD, full self-driving. It drives itself. 30 years ago, that would have been impossible. What's going to be possible 30 years from now? The point I'm making is if you're not innovating yourself as quickly as technology is upgrading, you're in trouble. You need to innovate your skills and innovate your attitude and innovate your mindset and innovate your life. That's what Next Level University really is. It's Next Level You, pun intended. Learning how to inspire, motivate, and educate people on how to improve themselves and improve their lives so that they can have a great life. Because ultimately, technology is speeding up so rapidly that as a computer engineer, I'm going to be successful and I'm grateful. But I see a lot of wonderful people that don't have tech skills and they're in some trouble.
Fantastic. Alan, for our listeners who are ready to take action, what is the best place for them to connect with you and learn more about your work at Next Level University?
Yeah, so if you are coachable and have high work ethic, you are our people, we are your people. If you are not coachable and have low work ethic, do not reach out under any circumstances. I'm just going to be a pain in your butt. So if you have high humility and high work ethic, nextleveluniverse.com is the website, nextleveluniverse.com. The podcast is called Next Level University, spell it just like it sounds. 1% improvement in your pocket from anywhere on the planet, completely free, success and personal development principles. The coach in your pocket you need to keep you on point, inspire, motivate, educate. And if you reach out on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn, you can Google my name. Instagram is the best place to reach me, DM me. If you need a coach, it's way more affordable than you think. Once a month can change your life. That's 12 check-ins per year where I'll get you on a system of success and I'll get you tracking metrics and habits towards your goals. And we'll make sure every quarter, Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4 are successful. It is unbelievable what you can achieve long-term if you stick with something like that and you actually track and have accountability. So that's what a coach is good for, is accountability. You're not just letting yourself down, you're letting me down, and your success is my success. So if you need a coach or a mentor, please reach out. We have free masterclasses every month. I have a book club I do every week. A lot of the stuff is free. Reach out, and thank you again for having me.
Yeah, Alan, it's been a really insightful conversation with you, and I'm excited to have you here today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.